Hey everybody, it's Karen Anderson here with Aortic Hope for a very fun and special live Q&A session. This one always goes over really well with everybody. We are so excited to have Tara Cohen, Executive Vice President of Lawrence Hope Medical ID Jewelry, here with us. Before we get started, please click that like button, click the bell so you're subscribed so that you're notified every time we have these awesome events like this tonight in Where We Go Live. We go live with survivor stories, our Monday weekend reviews, we interview doctors, all different kinds of people. Sometimes maybe I'll go live because I just have something on my mind. I want to capture an audience. Who knows? You never know. But tonight it's with Lawrence Hope. And so I'm so excited because I want to talk about so much stuff. Of course, you need to interact with us in order to be entered to win your gift certificate for the evening. So we will be keeping track of those names of who interacts with us. But the more important stuff, the business end, we want to get into first. Tell everybody, if this is their first time having exposure to Lawrence Hope, what is Lawrence Hope? How did it come to be? I'm going to let you just kind of have the floor.
Sure. Well, Karen, first, thanks so much for having us. Lawrence Hope is always really happy to support Aortic Hope, and I think even just our names, we are just meant to be fun partners. The neat thing behind Lawrence Hope is that our story is a little bit like yours in that it came from something so personal, right? It came from true personal desire to do a good thing, to put kindness out into the world, to put good out. And so really, I just love that part of it. But Lawrence Hope was founded in 2001, so we are 22 years old next month, and yeah, we're super excited about that. And it's such a joy to be part of something where we get to just do work that helps people. So Lawrence Hope originally was founded for the needs of a type 1 teenager with type 1 diabetes here in Kansas City. Her name was Lauren, and she was very shy and quiet. And if you know teenage girls, or you've been a teenage girl, you know teenage girls do not want to stand out. They want to fit in. They only ever want to stand out for something that they choose to stand out for, right? So standing out in a way that you are not happy about, that's not okay for a teenager. And Lauren was very much that way. She did not want people to know that she had diabetes. She felt that her medical IDs drew attention to her illness, and that's how she looked at it. And that's what she would say about it. She would lose her bracelets. I have met Lauren. I have asked her. She said, "Yeah, I lost them." But now she's an adult. She's a married woman. She lives here in Kansas City. She's got kids. She's lovely. She was actually just in the office quite recently. And when Lauren was a teenager, her mom was so concerned about her. They had just moved to Kansas City. Lauren was starting to go to the movies with her friends, right? Go to the mall and, have sleepovers. And she didn't want to disclose her diabetes to her friends. And her mom was very concerned that she would have a low blood glucose event, something like that, while she was out with friends, and no one would know how to help her. So her friend, Leanne Carlson, who's the founder and CEO of Lawrence Hope, said, she at the time had a craft business, just kind of a fun on the side business, what Leanne often refers to as a traveling lemonade stand of a business, because it was just crafts and it was fun, and it was something that she and her friend did for just some mad money. And so but one of the things they did was make jewelry. So they made a bracelet for Lauren. They made actually a whole set of them, because what they did was they took an ID tag, which was a atrocious old ID tag that they had to get at, the drugstore, that came on a chain, and they took that chain off and then made a series of about a half a dozen beaded bracelets that Lauren could interchange. And so that she wouldn't have to wear the same bracelet every day, and she could be a fashionable tween and, live the way that she wanted to live and express herself in her way. And 22 years later, we make bracelets, necklaces for men, women, and kids the world over, and millions of lives have been impacted by Lawrence Hope, and it's a special, special thing to be part of.
Well, and I'll tell you, it's impacted my life. And I've told you this since the first time that I had the nerve and reached out and was like, can we somehow have some kind of collaboration? Because, prior to being part of the aortic disease world, which I now know many of your employees are very well versed in, and we'll get to that in a minute, I had Crohn's and colitis. And so there was no way as an adult I was wearing a bracelet. First of all, I didn't even believe I had a disability. I just had a bathroom issue. Like that's, my head was in the sand in a major way. And I never gave any thought to what if there was this emergency while I was in the car, and there were some very close calls. And so the only thing I ever thought about was, okay, well, you want to have a change of clothes. But I never thought about what if that close call caused a car accident, God forbid, or what if on many times I've had to just go right to the hospital. Unfortunately, a lot of doctors think that you're just there for pain medication. They don't realize that you actually have a substantial disease. So fast forward, after I finally started going to support group meetings, fast forward into this world of aortic disease. And I realized, gosh, this is really something that this is lifelong. This is with me now forever. I had an aortic dissection, as you know. I now have 2 aneurysms that are being watched and a faulty valve. And I'm allergic to IV contrast. I'm on Plavix blood thinner. So there's some issues that, having had a TIA and not being able to talk while it was happening very well, having a complex migraine that I thought was a TIL and not being able to communicate to an EMT what was going on, would have been extremely problematic had I not just let the ego go and pick up my own Lawrence Hope bracelet. And the thought behind it was exactly the purpose of why this came to be, was if I'm going to wear something, and I'm definitely a sparkly, I like to have my jewel kind of person, I wanted it to look good. I wanted it to be fashionable. I
Yes.
wanted it, that if somebody's going to notice it, I want them to immediately notice it first for me because of its beauty, but second to be like, holy mackerel, like that's a medical alert bracelet. And the conversation would be completely deflected from what is actually wrong with me to what I was wearing.
Yep.
Knowing that if I were in trouble, all they needed to see was the medical alert symbol, that well-established identifiable symbol. And to an EMT, they don't give a crap about my bracelet. They're noticing this. Then their mindset's in a whole other world. And so I felt like I was in something fashionable, in something comfortable, in something versatile that was also going to help be somewhat of a lifesaver for me.
Oh,
So this to me is brilliant, because when you are in doctor's offices, except for the ones where we send your cards to, which are many, or you're in the grocery store or CVS, you are seeing these fine serving a purpose bracelets. But for me personally, I just felt that it just threw right in the front of my face that I had a disability and I had a major medical condition. I'm sure you have to hear that all the time.
it's one of the things that we do. We talk to customers about this all the time, and it's something that we send out review requests up when people make purchases, and they're so kind and they share their stories and reviews with us. And sometimes people just email us or call and tell us these things. But the fashion matters to a great portion of people, and that is okay. There are a lot of things about having a chronic health condition that we don't choose these things. We don't choose to have chronic health conditions. We don't choose to be allergic to things. We don't choose to have disease. We don't choose these things. And even as adults, we're not tweens, right? Who, just they want to fit in. But even as an adult, you want to wear what you want to wear. You want to express yourself. You want to be comfortable and not feel tagged or labeled. And we all want some of that, right? Now, some folks are super fine with, just plain. They're like, no, I want this to be as obtrusive as possible. I want to notice I want every single person who comes into contact with me to notice that I'm wearing a medical alert bracelet. And that is super important. Other people want it to be as discreet as possible. And most people fall somewhere in the middle.
Correct.
We try to carry something for everyone, because if you don't like it and you're not comfortable with it, you're not going to wear it. And if
you're going to lose it.
You're going to lose it, right? You're going to lose it. You're going to stuff it in a drawer and be like, I don't know where to put that. That's what we want for people. We want you to want to wear your jewelry. It is such a simple, easy thing to do every day, to put on your jewelry and be taking that little proactive step in your healthcare. And for me, what I love to hear is when people call us or write to us and tell us, I feel comfortable leaving my house alone. I feel more confident. I feel safer, right? And that's not just when they're wearing it, but I'm a parent. I have 2 children with special needs. When my children walk out the door and they're wearing our jewelry, I feel better. I feel like if my children have an issue when they are away from me, they have that little bit of coverage. I know that my phone number is on them, and that if something happens, I will be called, and that their primary medical information is on them, but it's on the back of their tag. So it is private and protected and discreet, and also they're covered. And
Right.
that security and that peace of mind is at the heart of what we do.
Mhm.
We want people to be able to go out, live your best life wherever you are in your life and whatever it is that's going on with you. We just want to be a little teeny part of it that helps make that a little bit better and lets you do things your way. And that's why everything
Exactly.
we do is custom sized, custom engraved, and why we have more than 300 different styles on the site. Because we really want there to always be something for everyone.
Well, and there is. And what we learned, excuse me, on the last time you guys were on
Mhm.
was the shopping experience that they can have, the free shopper, right?
Yes. So
So you have a service where somebody can literally just call the customer service and say,
yeah.
I don't even know where to begin. I
Mhm.
just know I like everything I see and I don't know how to whittle it down. Or I'm somebody that's sporty and I sweat a lot, especially in the summer. I need something that's going to, be comfortable
Mhm.
and more sporty, or it's my child. I don't even know where to begin. They
Yeah.
can come to you with what their needs are. And let's say they're in the aortic disease world and
Sure.
say to you, I've had a dissection. How do you even come up with the acronym for dissection? Or
Yeah.
I'm taking warfarin, or I have two aneurysm, I have Marfan syndrome.
Mhm.
You now have the ability to work with people for
Mhm.
free and
Mhm.
help them figure out exactly maybe what their top three would be, and more importantly, those acronyms on the back of the tag.
Yes, that's right. In fact, if you'd like, I can show you so that we can show your viewers where to find that on the website.
Yep, let's do that.
Okay, great. Let me go ahead and just screen share with you. So right now I'm on Flutterby. This is one of our newest bracelets. So while I have this pulled up, I'm just going to show it to you because it's just so cute. And you can see better in this photo. This has this really darling little butterfly charm. It's enamel in this pretty little mint color. And we brought it in just, we actually designed this one for this tag because it just goes so perfectly and it's really pretty. And I will say that right now we're in our Christmas in July promotion, which is great because it's 20% off almost everything on the site. And some of our outlet styles, clearance styles, are up to 35% off. So that's kind of fun. But what I really would love to show you is what you were just talking about, which we call our virtual personal shopping. So you can find it here towards the bottom of the site. It's also in the footer on all of our pages. You can find that right here under your new ID, and you can find virtual personal shopping. When you click here or here, you're going to come to this landing page that will allow you to schedule your session. Again, this is a free service. And so basically what happens is you opt in, choose your time and date, and then a lady who literally sits across the hall from me will get on Zoom with you, and she will walk you through all of this different jewelry, and she'll sit down with you and say, okay, so if you're a lady and you want an interchangeable bracelet, right? You want a bracelet strand that has a tag and a bracelet, and they're two pieces, just like the ones that you're looking at here. And I'll show you another new release while we're doing that. This is Marina, and it has these really cute little starfish and a nautilus shell, a sand dollar, and a dolphin. And then you can choose your ID tag, right? So you can decide which one looks best to you and what you would like to have on your bracelet. And that customization is at the heart of everything that we do, because then you can choose what you're going to engrave. So if you were doing it yourself, I would type Tara Cohen, and I can put in all of my many, many allergies. You can type in anything you want here, and you're going to see that preview show up to really give you an idea of how that's going to look on your tag. Over here, we always show you some images to give you an idea of the scale of a product. And then you give us your wrist measurement. I would love to spend a second on this because this is one of the places that people get really tripped up. I will tell you what we're asking you for here is a snug wrist measurement. We are not asking you what length you would like the bracelet to be. We are just asking what size your wrist is. And the reason we do that is because up here, we're going to ask you what tag you want, or you can tell us you already have a tag, tell us what kind of tag that is. If you even have a custom tag that you purchased somewhere else and you just tell us the length of that tag, we are going to craft this bracelet so that with your wrist measurement and the knowledge of what length tag you're going to be wearing that bracelet with, we're going to craft you a bracelet that is not too tight, not too loose. We sit in that Goldilocks spot of just right. If you need measuring tips, you can always click here and it will show you how to measure your wrist. A lot of folks make the mistake of measuring from the end of the measuring tape, but really you want to start at that 0 and see what number the 0 is across from, and that is your snug wrist measurement. It does not mean your bracelet's going to be snug or tight. And if for any reason your bracelet ever doesn't fit properly, we always offer a free resize in your first 30 days. So you can always just send that bracelet to us.
Just to clarify,
please.
I already have a tag. I have a couple tags with for interchangeable bracelets. If I wanted to get another bracelet,
yes,
I am measuring, or if I was the first time and I have a tag, I'm measuring my wrist not from end of tag to end of tag. I'm doing it literally, forget this bracelet even exists, and do the measurement, start over fresh. And that's my measurement for the wrist.
Yes. And it's, and I get it. I mean, we have these conversations with our customers every day. It's such a natural thing to go, oh, well, what size is my bracelet? And to measure your bracelet or with or without the tag. And unfortunately, that just ends up creating a scenario where you get a bracelet that's way too big or way too small. One of the ways that we actually combat that is we have this great service. It's a lovely, lovely, wonderful concierge service that, to my knowledge, no one else has in our industry, which is if you have shopped with us and you order, so say my wrist is about a 6 1/4. And so I'm going to order for a 6 1/4 inch wrist. And if I come back in a month or a year or what have you, and I order a 5 1/2, I am going to get an email and or text or phone call from this lovely lady named Cherish, who's been in our customer service department for 10 years. And if you've been a long-term customer of ours, odds are you've spoken to her. And Cherish is going to reach out to you and say, hey, we noticed that size is different. Did you mean to do that? I don't know about you guys, but if I go over to Loft and I order a blouse and I order a large and they're used to me ordering an extra large and I order a large, they don't call me and go, what are you trying to pull?
Right, exactly.
They don't mind if I return that. But we know that getting your bracelet and having it fit and having it so you can wear it immediately is so, so imperative. And that experience of reordering with us and then getting the wrong size bracelet is so unpleasant. It's just, no one wants that. So we love being able to provide this service for our customers. We do it all day long, every day. And it is one of the things that our customers really, really appreciate and enjoy, because we do have that safety net, and we're not going to catch all of them, but we do our very best.
So then getting back to what goes on the back of the tag, because I can see mine here. For me personally, and I don't have a problem sharing with it, just like you were saying, I have my name. Then it does say aortic DISS / THOR aneurysm, which I figured someone would figure out as thoracic aneurysm. Then I also have that I have an ostomy. And I also have RX, I put Plavix / clonidine patch, because the reason I mentioned only those 2 medications is because the clonidine patch, which I don't have on because the new one goes on tonight, is because a lot of that is metal. And I didn't want anybody to think to put me in an MRI machine and not notice this flesh colored patch, which would burn my skin if I was in the machine. So sometimes things to think about is, if you have a pacemaker, you might want to make that noted on here, because I know that can cause some potential issues too. I also have allergy. I just put ALGY. And I put IV contrast. And then I have my ICE, which took me forever to realize that means in case of emergency. And I put my husband's name and number on here. Plus I just put 911, because I don't know why I did that, but I did it. But anyway,
but it's what makes you comfortable, right? You felt that's what made you feel comfortable. And that's a super important thing, because you can do that. It's custom. So you do it the way that it feels good to you. Knowing that as long as your key information is there and it is understandable, it does not matter if it is perfect to the letter, the way a doctor would write it. It matters that it is readable and understandable. Absolutely.
And I did that without glasses on, because I did that with what was that one kind of engraving?
Laser. The laser. So you can see, I'll hold this up for folks, and I certainly don't mind. I talk about this all the time, and I talk about it on our blog.
Yeah.
But you can see, even just looking on a screen, you can see my information.
Right.
And I have a bunch of allergies. I have a lymphedema risk.
Mhm.
So all of these things are important. So I am a Lawrence Hope customer, and I have been for 15 years.
Mhm.
And I've only been with the company for 10.
Mhm.
But I have been a Lawrence Hope customer for about 15 years. And I so wholeheartedly believe in the product and what an easy thing it is to do to look out for yourself every day.
Exactly.
And my bracelet has saved my life. And I would not be here without Lawrence Hope. And in every sense of the word. One thing that you mentioned was pacemakers, and I want to stop on that one for just a moment. Pacemakers vary. And I'm going to say this, like, I am not a medical professional. I can't give you medical advice. Lawrence Hope does not employ medical professionals. None of us are. We are experts in medical ID jewelry. And what I can tell you from being in this industry for 10 plus years is that some pacemakers now say MRI with precautions or with caution.
Okay.
A lot of, in any case, they need to know that you have a pacemaker. So one of the interesting things that I think very few people actually know is that pacemakers obviously are made by several different companies, and they are all kind of different. So if you are having an issue, they need to know not only that you have a pacemaker, but also that what kind of pacemaker you have. Because if you've been in the hospital with a pacemaker, they come over with these like laptop looking things to scan you to figure out what kind of pacemaker you have so that they can even begin to help you. Jumping over that by saying, hey, this is a Boston Scientific pacemaker and here's my serial number is a really easy way to do that. If you are out of room on your tag, you can always use that last line of engraving to say, see wallet card. Carry that wallet card. Usually when you get a pacemaker, they give you a wallet card just for that.
Right.
I like to package those to have people carry their wallet cards from their device manufacturer with a Lawrence Hope wallet card, because then you can write all your other information there. Additional ICE numbers in case of emergency, dosages on your medications, doctors' names and numbers, portal information, that kind of stuff that you can carry with you. Because your medical ID is not meant to be your entire medical record.
Exactly.
It's not even physically possible, right? But in 6 lines with the appropriate abbreviations, you can fit so much. They don't need to know that I had knee surgery in 1999. They need to know that I have metal implants. They need to know that. That is an important thing, but it's not something that is important on the bracelet itself, right? That's a secondary piece of information. But I'm allergic to latex. I've had an aortic dissection. No blood pressure on this arm. These things that don't even touch me without knowing this. That's the stuff that goes on your medical ID. And everything else goes in the wallet.
Yeah, because a lot of people will talk about that all of our smartphones now have a place for that, someplace in the phone. But when you can't turn the phone on because it's off or because you don't have the person's code or whatever the case may be, it's a heck of a lot easier just to grab somebody's wrist, or if they're wearing it around their neck, whatever the case is, and go over that. So I would venture to say that men that are watching this are like, yeah, it's beautiful bracelets. So let's talk a little bit about your product line.
Oh yeah.
And because you just showed beautiful, that teal bracelet reminds me of Van Cleef and Arpels so much.
Oh, I'll pull it again for you if you want.
Oh, yeah. So if there's any new products that we need to be made aware of, because it was also like Tiffany blue, that struck me right away. There, I saw that too. So the new product lines for women, and then let's talk a little bit about the teens, the children, and the men, and what they can expect as well.
Absolutely. Okay. So great topic. I appreciate that. I have a handful of products on my desk that I'll show you, and then also I'll pull up the site and show you some more. But as you were talking about men, we really revamped the men's line over the last 18 months, and you can see it here with the carbon fiber inlay. Excuse me. These are just so fun, and I love these. These are our Stingrays. They come on this really substantial box chain that just has a nice masculine look to it, and they're finished with a little bail. It's not a simple jump ring, and it's not attached just to the tag, but it has that lovely bail, and it keeps it facing flat and forward, and that makes it more comfortable. they are, but for men, we also carry bracelets for men. One of the most popular styles that we carry for men is something we call urban. Our urban bracelets are not appropriate for people with pacemakers. And so I want to, especially with your audience, make that really clear, because they do have a magnet in them. And so we always say, pacemakers, you're avoiding magnets. It is certainly not my business to tell someone they can't wear it if they have a pacemaker. That is between them and their doctor, but we do want people to know they have magnets in them.
Sure.
And for everybody else, our urbans are that flexible band that you've seen on Apple Watches. And you literally just take it and thread the end through. And what's really fun about these is that you just slide it through and then you just wrap it around and you can adjust it so it fits however you want it to fit, because it's just a magnet, right? So you can just slide that and make it looser or tighter. So especially for folks who experience swelling of the hands, extremities, which is so common in so many conditions. The Urban line allows for a nice low profile design, keeps your information flush to your skin. It doesn't move around the way that, say, some of our beaded bracelets will kind of drape down pretty on your hand, that kind of thing. But if you want something that's going to just stay put, the Urbans are great for that. And they have them with howlite inlays and mother of pearl inlays and in rose gold and all of these pretty things for ladies. But then for men, we have them in this really cool carbon fiber, and I think they're kind of cool for an edgy lady too. But I'll show you one in the mother of pearl. So there's the rose gold in mother of pearl.
So pretty.
Isn't that great? I just love that so much. They're beautiful pieces, and they're functional, but they are attractive, and they don't draw a ton of attention right there. But they are there and noticeable for the person who's looking for it. And that's another really important thing to remember is most people don't comment on a medical ID when they see that it's a medical ID, right? It's somehow rude or an intrusive thing to say. Even in your doctor's office. And we'll have customers say, hey, I went to the doctor and my doctor did not even notice that I was wearing my medical ID. If you're in your doctor's office having a regular checkup, you are awake, alert, responsive. You are having a conversation with your doctor. They're not looking for your med ID to help you in any way, shape, or form. It is not in play at the moment, right? That's a thing that emergency service personnel are going to look for, right? EMTs are going to look for that, ER doctors. It's very much the same as the phone thing, right? No one is going digging through your phone. When I talk to EMTs, they tell us, we don't look at phones. We don't have time for that. That's a secondary thing. We don't look for wallet cards and we don't look for phones unless your medical ID says, see wallet card, see phone. Then they will take that step. But usually that stuff, no one's looking at your wallet card or your phone until you're in the emergency room, where there are additional people who can go do that while you are being helped.
Exactly.
So that stuff is important. I have my med ID filled out completely on my phone. I think it's a great idea, but it's a backup, just like a wallet card.
Right. Backup at best.
Yes. Well, things happen. All right. And so, but sometimes, if you're in an accident, your phone can be 30 yards away from you. You don't know. We think about it like, oh, our phones are practically attached to us, but they're not. Our jewelry actually basically is.
Right.
Your phone in an emergency can go flying.
Exactly. If you're in a car accident, it's who knows where it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of accident, when we were talking before we came online, I'm sitting here trying to get the one end attached to my bracelet that I can't even see right now.
Right.
And then you taught me the best way to do it. Please tell everybody the best way when you've got these double clasp or even a single clasp, because I've learned a new trick now.
So this is a thing that comes up a lot, right? Because our bracelets are not the same as a typical bracelet, right? A typical bracelet's going to be two ends of a clasp attaching to each other. And we all learn how to do that over time. But tags themselves, it doesn't bend, right? So if you're going to take your bracelet and be doing this business with it, you're going to smack yourself in the head. So what we like to do, I'm going to back up a little bit here, is lay your tag against your wrist.
Right.
Lay your wrist on your leg.
Okay.
Get your clasp in your fingers, and you're good. I do this at home. I usually, yay!
Much
I
better
usually
than
put my
this.
jewelry on like in my closet in my bedroom. So I'll have like I'll just put my wrist against the wall.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and that works too. But
Right.
the lap thing is just that's the easiest way.
So
You just
funny.
want to hold your bracelets still
Exactly.
so that you can clasp
Oh
it.
my gosh.
No more
And
flinging. No, you don't need injuries from your bracelet.
and I do. I love my bracelet so much. I get so many compliments. So this was the one that I chose the last time with the opal.
Oh yeah, that's Anne.
And this is in my rose gold with my mother of gold. You guys can see that tag.
Love those.
Yeah. So any other new products you want to show us right now?
Yes.
Exciting stuff,
So let
especially
me
for like
show
the
you that.
kiddos. But
Mhm.
I do, you know what, that men's, that magnetic bracelet, which could be for women too, reminds me of a Skagen bracelet. Like actually, I mean, watch, I actually have that and I could see pairing that right next to it and it
Yep.
would look amazing.
So so I'll show you a few. And since I already have women's pulled up, I'll show you that. But we already looked at Marina. That's new. We have this new what we call a body, right? Is that just this silhouette?
Yeah.
Brie is available in silver and gold in turquoise, but then we also have it in abalone, and it matches these abalone tags, which is super super fabulous.
Yeah.
So I love those. We just brought back. Oh, excuse me. We just brought back Felicity. This was a bracelet we had for years and years, and it had retired, and people really missed it. So we brought it back. And some other new stuff. We have Melody in a bunch of colors. I'm actually wearing it in gold right now, and I'll show you guys that when we're done screencasting. We also have some really fun new beadeds, but this is my favorite.
What is that?
It's a paw print, and it's just so cute.
That's so cute.
Isn't that adorable? So this bracelet is called Sophie Love, and it was named after Sophie, who was just the the soulmate heart dog of one of our team members. And so we named this bracelet after Sophie. And it's just so adorable and cute. It's two-tone, so you can wear it with our two-tone Gemini tags, but you could also wear it with a silver tag or a rose gold tag, and it'll look really cute either way. Yeah. But I just think it's a really fun bracelet, and the scale of it is great. It's not super big, but it's big enough that you can see that it's a paw print. And I personally, I think if you add the little, it's just extra fun. Yeah. So those are super, super fun new styles.
Now, while it's summertime, can we wear this in the pool? Do I have to worry about sweating? Do I have to worry about the shower? What do I have to worry about?
Great questions. So what you're going to do is go over here to our item details whenever you're shopping with us. This is going to tell you what it's made out of. And then we have our description of the bracelet and then the care instructions. So this one is going to say not recommended for wear in pools, hot tubs, or ocean water. And the reason is that this is a palladium and rhodium plated bracelet. Plated jewelry is not fine jewelry, right? So plated jewelry is going to maintain its luster and shine and beauty longer if you avoid getting chemicals on it. So if and avoid chlorinated water, that kind of thing. So I always recommend just take it off to shower. You can wash your hands. But when you're going to be putting all sorts of lotions and sunblock and things like that all over yourself, you definitely want to take your jewelry off. That's good for all jewelry, right? I mean, if you want your jewelry to stay really shiny and beautiful, you can't coat it and stuff. So that's a great question, but you can absolutely look for what we call 24/7 wear styles.
Oh.
And these are pieces that you totally can wear in the water. Anything that has a paint inlay or plating, the less you wear it in chemicals, the longer it'll last. But these, you can swim in them. You are good to go. We consider these very water friendly products. And anything with this waterproof on it, that's your go-to. If you are just a fish who lives in the pool, go with something like that. But while we're over here, you can see that we have everything is categorized for women, men, or kids. But also, if you're like, well, kind of an edgy lady, and I like some men's styles, right? You can just shop in bracelets or necklaces and just shop for whatever you want. But we're going to go over to men's. I'm going to show you a couple things for men that I think are just some really outstanding products. In fact, we'll just go to men in general. So the stealth bracelet comes in a few different configurations. It comes in a two-tone, it comes in black, comes in silver. But what I love about this one is that it is just cool looking.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's cool.
Hmm.
And I really personally, I just think that's fantastic because if you need to wear a medical ID, particularly with men, we see kind of what you were saying in the beginning, which is I'm not wearing that, right?
Right.
So I
Yeah.
think for men, some men have this perception that having a medical ID on will somehow brand them as weak in some way. And if that's how you feel, that's valid. And we want to make sure that there's a style that is just super low profile, discreet, so that you can wear it and be comfortable. And that's one of the reasons we have so many dog tags for men, because you can tuck it under your shirt and it's very discreet.
Hmm.
EMTs are trained to check neck and both wrists for a medical ID. So we have lots of dog tags. But if you are a real sporty guy, I love these. The Napa has this woven stretchy band, and it is a lot like the Apple Watch bands that you've seen. They're
Right.
just braided nylon, so it's
Very
totally,
sporty.
yeah, you can get it wet. It doesn't matter. It's really sporty. It lays flat against your skin. It's super comfortable. So I love that. Napa is great, but we also have all of these silicones, right? So, and here's another version of Stealth. Um, if you want something a little more fashionable, we have these really cool artisan tags right now, and they look great with the Figaro bracelet. The artisan tags have this beautiful cedar inlay, and they're gorgeous, and it's a very gender neutral bracelet, which is why you see it on a female model here, and you see some of these swirlier kind of tags with it, because it really can go, for an adult, a child, a man, a woman.
Hmm. Hmm.
But for guys, you can see as I said, we have a lot of these lovely urbans, and then here's some more of that cedar collection.
Hmm.
So I love those. The Atlas dog tag looks really, really attractive in person, and it's the same size as the one that I had just shown you that I was holding up. That Stingray dog tag. We also have Howlite and black and gold for urban. So if you are a fashionable guy, we've got you covered. And those are, these, like I said, are magnetic. These have a tiny little flip clasp on the back. You just flip it open. These guys, the Tahoes, have a butterfly closure. So you see that little button right there?
Pinch that, right?
You pinch it, right? It opens wide.
Hmm.
And again, it's just cool looking, right?
Yeah, that looks great. Look at that.
Right? It's
Very
really
nice.
attractive, and I to me, like that, I really love those, and we carry them for ladies as well. They have this beautiful mother of pearl,
Hmm.
and here you can see the clasp a little better, where you just pinch it and it opens. Actually, it opens both ways, both sides, so you just slide it right over your hand, and they're just super comfortable, and they give you that kind of Rolexy band look, that it's classic, and it just kind of never goes out of style.
Yeah, very nice.
For kids, oh, that was fun. Okay, so a little fun fact behind the scenes thing. That is my daughter.
Oh, oh, great.
She does not look like that anymore. That is when we first moved here. It's a very old picture of her.
Oh.
But because we've carried this bracelet for a long time, but that's my daughter when she was little. Now she's a teenager. But you can see here in the kids section, we do have sections for girls or boys, or you can shop all. A lot of the stuff we carry for kids is gender neutral, right? Because it's rainbows and it's sporty and it's
very
just
durable.
Yeah. So with kids, we do the interchangeables also. I think interchangeables are the best idea for children. And one of the reasons is that kids grow, right? Kids grow and their tastes change, especially if you have tweens or teens, their tastes change a lot. And we go from this month I'm into cottagecore, and this month I'm goth, or I'm emo, or whatever.
Right.
They're figuring themselves out, right? And then another time they want to get all fancy dressed up. So I love the interchangeables for kids because they can take that tag and move it from bracelet to bracelet. So you can have a little girl and maybe she loves her rainbow bracelet, but as she's getting a little older, she wants something maybe a little more grown up. Or she might want something for sports and go, okay, well, I'm going to wear my mood bead bracelet to school, but when I'm playing sports, I just want a silicone band, right? So I love to give choices that way. Also fun for kids and actually for adults too are these bag tags. The bag tags come on a carabiner and they're engraved on the back.
I love that idea.
Right? So, kids are kids wear their bracelets, especially if they like them, but your kids' stuff is also really, really important. And one of the ways that we address that is that, usually if you have a kid and they need a medical ID, a lot of times they have stuff that goes with that, right? If you have a kid who has allergies, somewhere there is their epinephrine auto injector, right? If they have asthma, where is your inhaler? We know that those things are so important and we need to know where they are, right? So having that bag tag that's like, my bag always has a red tag on it and it says exactly what's going on with me, that's important. A
Right.
lot of parents really like that with kids with food allergies because they can label the lunch boxes too, especially for younger kids, because sometimes the people in the classroom are substitutes or they're new and they don't know, each kid. And so even having the lunchbox and the backpack and the kid labeled, I know as a mom, that stuff makes me feel better.
I mean, even just the bag label, if it just said peanut allergy and that's all that it needed to say on that, that's or if your child was a type 1 diabetic, just to have it labeled 1, that you're already going to know to check their wrist, but just to have something, epinephrine, EpiPen inside, something like that. It's just amazing how much extra security it has you feeling.
Yes, it does. I mean, I'll try and make this as short as I can. I mentioned that I was a customer before I worked for Lawrence Hope. I found Lawrence Hope when my son, who's now 18 years old, was 3. And so my son has an intellectual disability, autism, and epilepsy, and he's nonverbal. And at age 3, he was eligible for special ed pre-K, which he really needed for that intensive work. However, special ed pre-K is at the elementary school. 3-year-olds do not go to elementary school.
Right.
I was so nervous to hand my nonverbal 3-year-old to these lovely, wonderful people, but also you're not me, right? You're not mom. And he might wander and he doesn't respond to his name. And what if he gets lost? And what if anything, right? And I just was so nervous about that. And putting a medical ID on my son was so comforting to me as a parent. And I labeled every single thing that poor child carried. I mean, he was just a walking label. But and as he's gotten older and more mature, we make those judgment calls of what is really necessary. But at that age, I labeled absolutely everything I could. I could not have my information on enough places. And it's peace of mind. That's really what it comes down to. And
it does.
It is peace of mind. I was confident. He likes this bracelet. He'll wear this bracelet. If something happens, all anybody has to do is flip it over and they can call me and I will be there.
100%. Let's see if there's any questions real quick.
Sure.
Hi, we don't have a whole lot of questions. We do have a little bit of chat going on. Belda dropped in to say hi. Elena Ariano says, I would never have thought to wear a medical bracelet. John Brenny said, I got the necklace and don't leave home without it. And I said, hi, Elena, you wouldn't have thought to wear one? She says, no, never, ever thought it necessary. And I said, we hope it's never necessary, but great to have. And she said, definitely. Bruce Waldrop dropped in to say hello, all.
Bruce. Hey, everybody.
Hey. Joshua, I really love that. And, we hear that a lot. And I think that there's a misconception about medical IDs. And so I want to address that because it's a really great statement of people go, oh, I would never have even thought about that. That's the thing here is that you don't wake up one day and just think, I need a medical ID. Like, you need new jeans and you need new shoes, but you don't think about, I need a medical ID and then suddenly magically know that there are attractive ones on the market. It's not a thing that happens.
Exactly.
You're not coming up with this idea on your own. So it has to be presented to a person. And that's one of the reasons that we do these kinds of, these kinds of meetings. It's one of the reasons we do podcasts. It's why we have programs where people hand out our brochures, because even just being told, oh my gosh, you actually do need this and you could benefit from this. It's information that people don't have. And it's something that gets missed a lot in conversations with medical professionals because there isn't a space where it fits exactly. Your doctor gives you a diagnosis. Everything after that diagnosis for most people is like a Charlie Brown voice, right? Like you just got this news and all you're hearing is like, you don't take that in, right? So even if it's said to you in that moment, it does not compute. And I've gotten those diagnoses for myself, my children, and I know wherever I speak, like you tune out because you just can't wrap your head around what's going on. And so having that physical brochure is really helpful. But also just having these conversations and being part of support groups and understanding how other people are living their best lives with the same types of conditions is so invaluable. That sense of community and understanding. A medical ID, I think some people have this preconception. First of all, I know I hear this from people with diabetes quite regularly, is that they think that the symbol means diabetes. And it's because it's so adopted in the diabetes community, because typically endocrinologists are very, very adamant that their patients wear medical IDs. Same thing with allergists, because these are conditions that cause emergencies. And so when people have conditions that cause an emergency or are likely to, that's when usually a nurse educator will come in at some point and will have that conversation with you. But if you have a condition that could be made worse or triggered by common medical treatments, you also need a medical ID, right? So, a friend of mine is allergic to morphine and has asthma and works on job sites, like construction job sites. And I said to him one day, I didn't know you were allergic to morphine. Why aren't you wearing a medical ID? You should really wear one. And he, honest to goodness, no one had ever had that conversation with him. And I said, if you have an asthma attack when you are up on some scaffolding and you fall, like, you're going to get pain meds. That's going to happen. And, and it never occurred to him, because he thought, okay, well, if I have surgery, I will just tell them, like, I don't give me morphine as my pain med, give me something else. We tend not to think about, okay, well, if it's an emergency thing, what will happen? So I always think of those as kind of primary and secondary, right? Things that might cause an emergency, or things that might be exacerbated or triggered by an emergency, and
or exacerbated by your environment. So I'm thinking about what you're saying, and to Elena's point, I don't wear my bracelet every day, because sometimes I'm just going to the grocery store and I'm coming home, or I'm going to go to the pool and I'm going to come home, so it's going to come off anyway. But there are very, very specific times that I definitely wear it. So that's two ends of the spectrum, and then wearing it falls on and off in between.
Right.
When I just traveled recently to Canada, absolutely. Anytime I'm out of this country or I'm out of the state, I have my ID bracelet, my medical ID bracelet, because if something happens to me, maybe I'm not with my husband at the moment, altitude were to get to me, a lot of times people jump to call a paramedic because somebody passes out or somebody stumbles, and they don't even know what they're actually calling for. Now, for some reason, I can't articulate everything, or I'm too tired to articulate the litany of things. I've got everything right here on the tag that's most key critical. So they're going to know immediately to do certain tests on me based upon my symptoms. And so I think that while we're in the States, a lot of medical facilities are now part of Epic, where they're all joining into this master portal system. So I can be in one state and they'll pull up my medical history. They already know in another state what medications I'm on. So that to me is mind blowing. That's brand new technology as far as I'm concerned. But I still feel that if I'm leaving my state, the comfort of where all my people are, to go somewhere else, I want it to be very, very easy to get this information to them. And I don't think a lot of people feel that if they have an aneurysm that's being watched and they're just waiting in case something changes, that is critical to have a tag. But I would beg to differ and say, well, aneurysms are very common. A dissection is very rare. At the moment of a dissection, this tag isn't really going to, other than allergies, you are in crisis mode.
Right.
If you are having an issue with blood pressure high or low, or maybe medication got absorbed, whatever the situation is, or you're having some chest pain, so many people are turned away from the ER because of ageism, sexism, whatever the case may be with chest pain, and told it's gas or it's probably a muscular strain. But if you walked in with a bracelet on that said that you have a thoracic aortic aneurysm, it's already known. Well, now this is just the weight behind your statement. Because even if you say, well, I have an aneurysm, there are still hospitals at Marfan designated centers. There's still ERs that will still delay 6, 7 hours later, you're finally getting that CT. But I feel, this is just me, that if I had my bracelet and it explains to people, I have an aneurysm, here it is. This is like my medical proof.
Mhm.
And I'm coming to you and telling you I'm having some distress, although my EKG is normal, my D dimer is normal, everything is coming back normal. This should indicate, get me into a CT scan.
Yeah.
So I think it's just it's that reality that I think everybody hits at different times in their path with an illness or a disease. And some people, they come away and they still say, I'm good. I don't feel I need any kind of medical identification. And that's fine. Everybody have their own decision. But if you do come to the decision, you know what, this might make some sense in case I can't articulate it or the hospital's not believing me for whatever reason, it might make sense to have something on me. And at least then, if that's the case, you've got really cool options to pick
Yep.
from to make you
Yep.
feel that incentive to wear something.
I always like to think of it as a prescription for jewelry.
I totally agree. I do. Now, here's the
You know,
question. But will insurance cover any of it? I've never tried. Does your FSA, HSA, nobody will
yes.
cover it?
Yes. So we are FSA, HSA eligible. So if you have an FSA, HSA card, you can
Okay.
shop with us and use that card. Not all sites will take that. Obviously, we are approved to use that. So you can use your FSA, HSA card. You can also, if you need to send your invoice in for reimbursement, if that's how your FSA, HSA works, no problem. You can, our invoices all state very clearly, this is medical ID jewelry.
Okay.
Every once in a while, somebody's FSA or HSA says we need further documentation, and you just call us and we take care of that for you. But typically, they accept our invoices. We have designed them to include the things that we know FSAs and HSA ask for, because that is a common thing. What's nice about that, first of all, I think what people forget about an FSA, HSA is you're not paying taxes on that money, right?
That's right.
So what's cool is, like, to me, if you shop with your FSA, HSA card and you shop with us, and especially if you're using a coupon when you shop with us, you're getting like double coupon. And I don't know about you, but like, I'm a really thrifty shopper. So I love that part, that like you can still shop with us, like we're a retail store and you're buying whatever it is that you want, but you're also saving those extra dollars.
Oh, believe me, I wrote down July jingle. I saw when you went to your website, there's a sale right now
Yep.
on all merchandise pretty much, and
Yeah.
on clearance an extra 35% off. I don't think I've ever known a time where you guys were not having some kind of a sale.
There's
that was
always
going
something
on.
going on, always.
Mhm.
This is a huge promotion in that it is site-wide. It's a really big number. We don't do this very often. We reserve, these kinds of discounts only come up a few times a year. So it is a very good time to come over and shop. But we do almost always have some promotion going on. And
Mhm.
part of that is because we know it's expensive to have medical conditions. We get it. We know.
Yeah.
So we try to make sure that at any time there's always going to be something that's on sale.
Right.
We always offer coupons. You can always find one on the site. We try to keep our costs down as much as we possibly can, and still provide the level of design and quality and service that our customers need and deserve.
Wonderful. All right, let's do one more last check. I keep getting this one little eyelash in my eye. Any other last comments or thoughts from everybody?
Bruce says that he has a necklace right now from this company.
Oh, thanks, Bruce.
See,
Right?
that's awesome.
Asked how long. He said about 2.5 years.
Very good. Very,
Hey.
very good.
Rob jumped in with 3 peace signs. We said, "Hey, Rob." He said, "Sorry, a bit late, but I made it."
That's all right. Better
And-
late than never.
Absolutely.
And Elena had a comment about the knowledge of the jewelry industry, and she said, the knowledge of the medical bracelet itself, like that would have been big. And I liked your point about, the kind of like, what you call the Charlie Brown adult situation after you get something. And it's
Yeah.
like okay, so that makes a very, very, very interesting point on where or when that kind of conversation should kind of crop up.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. Like there's no good spot for this. By the way, you should really think about carrying some medical information on your body.
I think
Yeah.
most here.
I don't think I've ever, and I don't think I've ever had a doctor tell me that I should. Yeah, and it's funny, and I think I'm going to talk to a couple of the doctors that we have on here just to ask with what regularity and what would be the circumstance in which you would recommend this to someone. Because does it take blood thinner to recommend it? Does it take a mechanical valve? Does it take a pacemaker? What does it take to recommend this? Now, I personally made the decision on my own because I felt more comfortable. I was having some other issues alongside of this dissection, like a TIA and other situations. And at those moments, or a complex migraine when I couldn't speak, if somebody needed to know something about me, it was a lot faster to do this than to try to mime something over the phone to my husband to be like, try to tell him where I am to get there to speak for me. So it's just, I look at it like people have to end up on disability, whether it's temporary, it's permanent. You're cashing in your insurance program that you've been paying into as a working person. I look at this as an insurance piece of jewelry. Yes, I love retail therapy, but I really do look at it as something that just gives me an added peace of mind when I'm out, that it's one less thing about this that I actually have to think about. Without it, I was thinking about it more often. Now I don't think about it so much because it's doing the protection for me. That's kind of how I see it.
I love that. I think that's so important. And I love that perspective. And we hear that a lot. We work with a lot of nurse educators and they talk about jewelry for every manner of condition. I work with a lot of diabetes nurse educators because diabetes support groups are a very common condition to have support groups for. But that's the space where this happens. This education does not normally happen right when you get a diagnosis. Yeah. If you get an implanted device, it happens in the hospital. You get that wallet card and they tell you that. But it doesn't always happen right then when you get that diagnosis. And even if it does, like I said, you kind of often don't retain it. I love when people get our brochures in those moments because I have been the recipient of that kind of information. And I know you get home and you've been handed all of this stuff, right? The doctor gave you a bunch of handouts to read and a bunch of things now you got to make all these follow-up appointments and you have this stack of stuff. And I love that for some people, we can be the one thing that you can check off, right? You can go home and be like, I can't deal with any of this. This is so much stuff. What like one thing can I do right now? Like, what's the first thing I can do? It's evening. I can't make any of these doctor's appointments. I have to wait on test results, whatever it is, but you can go online and choose your bracelet, engrave it, and have it in a few days and have that peace of mind and that little, like you said, insurance policy. And to me, that's a thing that is in your control that you can do right then. And it's proactive and it feels better. You feel safe, more secure because you're still learning 100%. About the condition, right?
100%.
Karen, you mentioned a few things that I think we should touch on. One of them being blood thinners. And I want to make sure that people know this because it is so, so, so important. Again, not medical advice, but a thing that we have learned here is that you know way better than I do that there are different types of blood thinners. Families of blood thinners, they work differently, they do different things, they are not all the same, and the countermeasures required during a bleeding event are different for the different types of blood thinners. So when you are on blood thinners, first of all, it is imperative that you wear a medical ID. I cannot tell you how important this is. It is so important because not only in a bleeding event when you have obvious bleeding, right? And that is a huge problem. But if you are in any kind of trauma, if you are in the backseat of a car in an accident and you look fine, and maybe the person in the front seat does not look fine, you're getting triaged. You're getting helped in order of severity of your injuries, right? If there are so many professionals on the scene to help you and you look fine, they're going to prioritize. But if you are wearing your medical ID and it says that you are on blood thinners and you are clearly at all injured, they know you might be dealing with internal injuries and you could be bleeding out internally.
Absolutely.
That's the stuff that like no one stops and tells you. And it's so important. It's such a easy thing you can do to help avoid that situation. And but you have to engrave which blood thinner you're on.
Right.
If you are early in a diagnostic phase and your doctor is like, well, let's try Plavix, let's try warfarin, let's try, let's kind of hop around here and let's try Eliquis. we know that happens. What we recommend is write on blood thinners, C wallet card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we know if you're just not sure what you're going to end up on long term, don't engrave it. Just say you're on blood thinners.
Exactly.
Carry that information. It is so imperative.
Right, because they're going to handle Plavix very differently than they are Eliquis or
Yep.
warfarin or Coumadin.
Yep.
So that is very good point. And also for individuals that have aneurysms, if you've been in a car accident and airbag's been deployed and you look fine, they may prioritize you to go to the CT scan last.
Yep.
But what we know is that's a trauma. That's a blunt force trauma right to your chest. And you
Yep.
may not be showing signs right away of a dissection. You could be in shock. And it doesn't mean you're going to have one, but it means that there's a chance and they need to look for it. So,
yes, they do. And
right.
those kinds of things, you know, as a person who's been through an aortic dissection, you know, many conditions are invisible.
Right.
You don't
Many.
look at people and know. I can look at you and I don't know any of the things that you have going on, right? They
Yep.
don't show on you.
Right.
If you look at me, you don't know these things, right? Like I mentioned earlier, I've had a double mastectomy. I have a lymphedema risk because I had a lymph node removed, and that increases my risk of developing lymphedema if I experience any trauma to my affected side. So on my left arm, no blood pressure, no needles, no BP, no IV, nothing. Very, very important, because in an emergency, yeah, I want you to help me. Help me right now, right? And help me however you need to help me. But if you can avoid traumatizing my left arm, that's awesome, because lymphedema currently is incurable and not reversible. And I have known people with lymphedema. It is not a lovely thing to have.
Not pleasant. No,
it's not. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And it is one of those things that, like, you wouldn't know that about me just looking at me. How would you know that? And
exactly.
It's so as soon as I had that done, I bought new medical ID tags. Luckily, I have an in and I know where to get them. But I have that on me because it's just such a simple little thing I can do. Even when I go to get it's been 5 years since my mastectomy. And so sometimes literally I walk into the doctor's office and I'm like, is it my left? Is it my right? Like, which one am I not supposed to? I will check my tag myself. And just the fact that I have it on reminds me to do that. Is really, really helpful to me, because I mean, it's been a while. And so every once in a while I go, I just.
Sure. Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. All right. So our takeaways are massive sale right now, for which
huge.
A few members of Aortic Hope sent you our TikTok video.
Oh, so fun. So if you guys have not seen that, please go to Aortic Hope's TikTok or go to Lawrence Hope's TikTok. It is on there. It is the cutest thing. I literally screamed up and down the hall in the building when it came over. I was like, everybody come in here and see what Karen did.
You don't even know. We were dressed up. It was an 80s night that a couple of the girls were going out to. And this is what we've learned, that when we're in an escape room, one of us, who shall remain nameless, not I, is a tyrant. She is a tyrant of, don't look there, we need a key, look here, do that, because she wants to escape. When it comes to teaching TikTok, I have been told by someone that is on this call with us that some people are better off behind the camera and others in front. However, we needed to have all three of us in front. And I cannot tell you how many times we had to choreograph this, and I had to explain, let me teach you the beat. 1, 2, 3, now go. And I'm in the background like, now move, no, come up, now cross your hands, show your bracelets, So by the time we finally did it, we were tired, but we got it on the final take, and it was a lot of fun. We're happy to do that for you.
Oh we loved it so much. We loved it so much. I mean, honestly, I got such a kick out. I must have watched it 6 times, and I was like, you guys, everybody come in here, my office, you have to see this. And everybody loved it so much. And we put it up on our social right away. All of our socials are at Lawrence Hope ID. And you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. And I love it so much. And we love when our customers show off their jewelry and their TikToks, right?
Do stuff, send it to us. We'll get it over to them. I mean, we all would love to see you do something with your jewelry. You've got some great videos on there, by the way. I did look at the collection of things that have been coming in, but separate from that, great sales, huge variety, special place to go and click on 24/7 if you're thinking that you want to jump into the pool where you're sweaty, or you're playing sports, or you're going to be outdoor in the heat, whatever the case may be, or showering. Great options for men, great options for kids, brand new, wonderful options for women. We now know how to put on our bracelets, so we're not doing this, trying to get it to come around. This is all such amazing information. And the greatest thing of all is I'm going to be loaded with some more gift certificates to help us get through the rest of the year with some bingo events, and Aortic Disease Awareness Month is coming up. We always do our 31 Days of Hope and Joy in December. So we will have these to give away, but tonight, right now, without any more further ado, we're going to give away.
We do have some feedback here. There's a
get
question.
Some feedback first. Yeah.
Owen Robert says, is it worth putting historical issues on the tag? For example, had a heart attack, or only current issues? Example, have a dissection / on blood thinners, etc.
Oh, great question. Okay, so one of the nice things about our tags is that our oval shaped tags, which of course we have in styles for men and women, take 6 lines of engraving. So a lot of times what we see people do is do HX for history, heart attack, right? They will put that, and just to give that like bullet point kind of stuff, that's a major health event. Something like I was saying earlier, like knee surgery, not a major health event, right? We don't need to know that. Don't need to know if you had bunions removed, right? But we do need to know you've had a heart attack. That's an important piece of information. So we do, when people ask us, we do recommend that. It's if it fits and it is pertinent and is a major health event or major health factor, we recommend that you engrave it. If you are tight on space, the dog tags do take a little bit more. And that style that I showed you guys earlier, Napa, and anything with the word Metro in front of it will have this larger tag. And you can put a ton of information on there. So if you want to have more, you can.
That's a good question.
Yeah, great question.
Right on. I went ahead and dropped the share sale link into the chat for everyone.
Awesome. We love that. And I want to make sure that people really understand that that is a super important program. A share sale link is an affiliate link. And so that means that if you want to shop with us, please click that link. You don't have to just come to the Lawrence Hope site. We would love for you to click that link. That allows for us to thank Aortic Hope in a very tangible way for any transactions that come through. And Karen doesn't have to do a thing. All she has to do is post those links, and Aortic Hope gets a portion of the proceeds of those sales, which helps support all the awesome work that Karen is doing on the team.
I love it.
We love it too. We love it too. It's such a wonderful relationship, and we're just so pleased to support Aortic Hope and the wonderful work that you guys do. It's tremendous, and I love that you have us do this a couple times a year. We just love coming on. We can definitely we'll get together and we'll find our next time.
We will.
As you said, December is Aortic Awareness Month, and medical IDs make very thoughtful gifts.
Yeah, September would be wonderful to do that.
Offers in November, and around Black Friday there will be some really fantastic offers. That's a great time to buy those gifts.
That's great. Do we have any other comments, Josh?
Some clapping and some thank you very much. Okay,
thank you guys.
I'm gonna we're gonna draw a name.
You ready for this? Because I have the wheel of names ready.
We're ready for the wheel, and then we're gonna play a very quick trivia, 80s trivia.
Oh, it's on. You're going down, Anderson.
I'm going down again. I know it. And if you win, I will send you a nice little prize from us as well. But I'd like to think that, look, I got COVID brain twice now, so cut me a little slack. Go a little slow to hit your buzzer. Go ahead, Josh. Let's pull who our winner of the $50 gift certificate will be.
All right. Let me get the screen ready for you ladies.
Very exciting.
Merp. I lost you already.
All right.
There we go. I found you.
Yay.
Okay.
All right. Now, the wheel of names. Give me that tab. Oh my God. It's being terrible. All right, fine. Fight me, will you? Boom.
There we are. Look at that.
All right, are we ready?
We are ready.
Here, and giving anybody else a last few seconds here. Let's see if anybody else wants to jump in and chat. I don't know if that's going to happen though.
That's okay. You got to chat to win.
Yeah. Rob says, going to get me a bracelet and car seat belt tag just to have to wait a couple weeks. Right
All
on.
right.
Right on. All right, let's go ahead and click this. What do we have?
Looks like
John, we have a winner.
John's our
John
winner.
Brenny, everyone.
Well done.
Super awesome.
All right.
Well,
Josh, I'm have you reach out to John, and then I can take care of getting that number of your $50 gift certificate. I will get that over to John. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. And whenever you're ready, Josh, I heavy sigh on my butt spanking I'm about to endure.
All right,
don't
so
know,
we've
you
got
Okay,
two
formidable
teams.
last time.
let's see what we got. What do I have to do? Just raise my hand and say it in a question?
Well, who would like to start?
Go ahead.
I will
Okay,
let
okay.
Tara go.
Oh,
okay.
okay. Tara, let's take
All right,
a
so
look
tell
at the
me
board
how-
again.
Yeah, give me a refresher, please. How are we doing this?
Well, you've got 80s music, 80s TV, 80s movies, 80s game shows, and 80s toys. And
Oh.
you can choose how much damage you want to do. And as your team won, you can pick wherever you want on the board.
Okay. I will take 80s music for 100.
80s music for 100. The question: this 80s rocker was known for biting the head off a live bat during a concert.
So am I supposed to like chime in? Like,
Oh,
I
you
forget
have first option to answer the question.
Oh, that's how that works. She gets first.
Okay.
Last time I just sat around waiting. I thought I had to chime in and I sat quiet the whole time. But you get first option to answer. Okay.
Okay.
So it's not a buzzer.
Yeah.
All right, and I have to answer this Jeopardy style. So who is Ozzy Osbourne?
Who is Ozzy Osbourne? Who is Ozzy Osbourne? Team 1,
Oh my God, I'm
100
so nervous.
points.
Yay.
Okay. Now,
She gets to go again.
you have the board. Yes, you keep running the board now.
Oh, okay. So let's do 80s TV for 100.
80s TV for 100. Who is known for this famous quote, "I pity the fool"?
Who is Mr. T?
Who is Mr. T?
You won't even want to know. I mean, I got it right in my brain, but the different ice cubes, ice teas, ice peoples were going through my head at the same time. Okay. But I did. I knew the gold chain. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember that well. All right, let's just keep going with 80s movies for 100. We'll just
80s
do
I'm just gonna watch Tara play.
Name of movie where John Cusack holds a boombox over his head.
What is Say Anything?
What is Say Anything? I feel like you're cheating.
Sorry, guys, I grew up in the 80s.
That's it. I have to take this back to the 70s is what I'm gonna have to do. And I know I'm still older than you by a little bit. I'm gonna take it back to the 70s.
If you do 70s, you will beat me hands down.
Are we
All
going to
right.
game shows?
Yeah, let's do 80s game shows for 100.
80s game shows for 100. Popular game show known for the phrase "big bucks, no whammies."
Oh, geez. Oh my gosh. I know. I can like picture it in my head. Gosh. I'm going to just guess. What is Let's Make a Deal?
What is Let's Make a Deal?
No, don't I get to guess?
Oh, what is Press Your Luck? You're right, but I would only know that if I knew the answer.
But you know what? My answer was gonna be what is whammy. So I would have got it wrong.
Okay, well,
anyway.
but now you have control of the board, Karen.
Yay!
Okay. Oh God, I'm so nervous. All right, let's just try 80s Toys 100.
All right. A popular 80s toy that glowed in the dark.
What is night light, light bright, whatever it's called, night light, light bright.
Ooh,
Oh,
what
I
is
was wrong.
glowworm?
You know what?
Okay.
Glowworms!
What they do on Friends?
Tara, you have control of the board.
I see. Totally don't do well at this game.
Okay, let's do 80s toys for 200.
80s toys for 200. A popular 80s video game named after a bug.
So easy.
What is Centipede?
I knew it, and I don't
What
get a chance
is
to answer when I
Centipede?
know it. Man.
All right.
Okay, 80s game. I'm staying away from 80s game shows. 80s TV for 200.
80s TV for 200. What famous actor / comedian is known for the phrase "nanu nanu"?
Oh, who is Robin Williams?
Oh.
That's Work from Work.
Who is
Yes.
Robin Williams? Indeed.
I have
700
the music
points.
now in my head.
Oh yeah, I mean, I
So
grew
I
up.
have 0. I'm going to never get above 0. This is the Tara Cohen show. This is,
I'm
you
so
should do
sorry.
this. You need to do this like a team building exercise for Lawrence Hope. Go ahead.
No, that's the worst. I have done this in a team building exercise for Lawrence Hope, and I like ran the board for that, and I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna like not play. This is-
Keep
I don't
going. I think it's adorable.
fair.
What's next?
Let's see where we're at.
Okay,
Next.
80s movies for 200.
80s movies for 200. Name of Tom Cruise's flying partner in Top Gun.
All right, I know I have to say who is, but also like talk to me, Goose.
That's the right way to say it. Who is Goose? Indeed.
Yes, who is Goose?
All right.
All right, 80s movies for 300.
80s movies for 300. The popular phrase the Goonies shouts.
What is Goonies Never Say Die?
What is Goonies Never Say Die? This is outstanding.
I know. She's amazing.
Terrible. It's the war. I'm so sorry.
It's so good.
Okay, so 80s movies for 400.
80s
We're gonna
movies
play
for
90s
400.
next time.
The planet the Ewoks
Oh.
are from.
Oh, this is terrible. I'm gonna lose my
I'm
8
gonna
for this.
Totally don't know this. So
What is Alderaan? Tatooine. I can't remember.
The answer is what is Endor?
Oh yes.
What
How
is
do I not remember
Endor?
that? Oh my
I
gosh.
get to I
I
get
used
to
my
ask
geek
them.
card for that.
Oh my God.
All geek cred is gone.
Give me 80s music for 200.
80s music for 200. This British band was named after a character in the Jane Fonda movie Barbarella.
What? Movie
This
character.
British band was named after a character in the Jane Fonda movie Barbarella.
I have no idea.
You want to take a swing?
And a miss
I mean, or nothing?
from the 80s.
The British band was named after a character in the Jane Fonda movie Barbarella.
Do you know what that is, Josh?
Nope.
Now
I don't
let's
know what
think
it
of a
is either.
British band from the 80s.
Who is Duran Duran?
Really?
Right?
There was a
I never would
character
have guessed
named
that.
Duran.
I
And-
never getting
Need
that.
to Google that. We're
Quick, I
Googling that
couldn't-
after this.
Like it couldn't have gotten Cindy Lauper or something simple, right? I had to get
Right.
something like
And
that.
that was
Yeah,
only
I
a
got Mr.
200.
T. Come on, and you have to know how Duran Duran got its
Right,
name.
and that was 200. That should have been 500.
Yeah, that should be a 500 point for sure.
Okay, well,
Okay.
Tara has control of the board again.
Oh
Of
dear.
course.
Give me the
Oh, dear.
board.
Okay. All right, let's do 80s TV for 300, please.
80s TV for 300. The product Michael Jackson was advertising when he was set on fire.
What is Pepsi?
And that's 300, but what I had was 200?
That's not fair
What
at all.
is
Totally
Pepsi?
unfair.
Not fair. No, completely not fair. 80s TV for 400.
80s TV for 400. Star of the Breakfast Club that also appeared on The Facts of Life.
Who is Molly Ringwald?
Who is Molly Ringwald?
She was on Facts of Life. I
can't
did not
even
know
picture
this.
from Facts of Life.
I
Like,
never
No,
would
I
have guessed
don't.
that.
I'm just kind of assuming because
I wouldn't have guessed that one. I
don't
would
know,
have maybe
such a
gone with
girl thing.
Allie Sheedy, but
she just, I don't know. Maybe it's somewhere in the back of my head, or maybe it's a lucky guess. I don't know. 80s TV for 500.
80s TV for 500. The person who shot JR.
I don't know.
I'm feeling like I knew this because it was a woman and it was, I don't know her name, but I'm thinking it was the character that had the long black hair. I feel like I watched this on a documentary about the 80s not too long ago on VH1. So no, gonna just nobody knows. Nobody knows the answer.
Right
I
on.
don't-
Let's find out who shot JR. Who is Kristen, Sue Ellen's sister?
I never watched Dallas.
Apparently still makes a lot of money. Karen,
Yeah.
you now have control of the board.
Oh my God. Let's play 80s game show for 200. I'm going to completely bust this. I don't know anything.
The popular name for a portable radio.
What's a boombox?
Are you sure about this?
No.
What is a Walkman?
I said.
Karen just lost control of the board instantly.
How is that a game show question though?
And what does Walkman have to do with a game show?
Right, like how
And
is
a
that?
boombox is a portable radio because it sits on your shoulder and you walk around with it like you're cool.
Yeah, and that should
That
be
was-
in the toys and games section.
Right, and a boombox came before the Walkman. So yeah, I'm not wrong.
I think Karen gets 200 points.
That's not how that works. All right.
All right.
Tara,
let's
she has
go
conceded the control of the board back to you.
I was so confident in
You
my
were.
answer too.
with 80s movies for 500.
80s movies for 500. What
Damn.
popular 80s horror was known for a curse causing many cast and crew to die?
Okay, you guys, this was filmed in the neighborhood where I grew up. What is Poltergeist?
What is Poltergeist?
I am not
Tell
kidding.
us
The
more
tree-
about that.
The tree in the beginning sequence of Poltergeist, I literally rode my bike past it every day on my way to school. It was in the middle of my neighborhood, and they came around and asked, they knocked on doors in the neighborhood and said, who has kids like between, like 7 and 10? We want a bunch of kids riding our bikes around this thing. And I was a very shy child, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. But a bunch of my friends did, and kids that I knew. And the house that they used for the exterior for Poltergeist was my friend's house.
Wow.
See, I would have to go in there and just sit on the floor and wait to see if I moved across the floor.
No, her house was 100% not haunted. Just used as an exterior shot.
Kind of sad. Okay.
That's
All right.
that's
We
pretty
spent
awesome.
lots of times as children scaring ourselves about that tree.
Karen has 0. I just want everybody to know I
Little
have
goose egg.
this.
Okay,
Go ahead.
80s toys for 300.
80s toys for 300. A popular doll that lived in the garden.
What is a Cabbage Patch doll?
Of course. These are so easy, and I get the
What
hardest,
is a
stupidest
Cabbage
questions.
Patch Kid?
Yeah, you got
Boom.
the you need to pick toys. Toys is easier. Like 80s toys for 400, please.
80s toys for 400. A popular stuffed bear toy.
Okay, well, there's a bunch of them.
No, there's that bear.
So, okay, if it's one that talks, then it would say, who is Teddy Ruxpin? Because that
That's
was a
what I
very
think it
big
is.
80s thing.
I
Are we
think
going
it's that
for it?
one.
Who is Teddy
Yes.
Ruxpin? Pow.
Yeah.
Pow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I would have said that too. Or I would have said it in my head, but not been able to come up with the name out loud.
All right.
But I would have known that that's who you were talking about. The dude that talks out loud.
Oh my
Okay.
God, I remember that so well. Okay, although I had the robot one that came out before that, and it took 8-track tapes because that's how old I am.
But you're talking now like you're like 88, 89. Like I'm already out of high school, or 87. I'm almost done. Like I'm like Teddy Ruxpin. Brr.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we're not far apart.
Right.
Okay. Sorry. 80s toys for 500.
Yeah. Clean
80s
it up.
toys for 500. Name one popular Masters of the Universe character.
Who is He-Man?
Who is He-Man? Skeletor, Master of Arms. They would have taken any one of those. That's great.
Yay!
Boom. And we're back.
Oh dear. Okay. These are my worst categories, so I'm gonna go with.
And you
80s
got
game shows
music.
for 300.
Oh, I would have said you could totally nail music. It'll be fine. Oh, come on.
Popular dating show hosted by Chuck Woolery.
Oh God. Okay. What is the dating game? No, maybe it's a newlywed game. Shoot, I don't know.
No, you were right.
Oh, what
Oh.
is Love
I
Connection?
got it wrong. See.
I would have said dating game too, but then I kept thinking that was the 70s. So the
Yeah,
dating
exactly.
game, that was where you guessed by listening to the 3 people, you picked them out. But the Love Connection, you had already gone out on the date before you came to the show. This was the follow-up on how bad that date went on the show with Chuck Woolery. He's a good-looking man.
Oh man.
All
Okay.
right.
All right,
Oh
Karen.
my God.
You got a chance
right,
for some
good.
points here.
I'm just gonna really embarrass myself. 80s game show for 400.
80s game show for 400. What 80s game show was the predecessor to Pictionary?
They did it on TV and they did it on the board.
It's 3
Okay.
words.
So
You
good.
know
It's
this.
so good.
Wait a minute. So give the person with the brain bleed a minute. You wrote it. They had and they would stand there, and then that group and went up against that group, and it's called Win, draw, win or lose, win or draw, lose, win. Just something like that.
What is win,
lose,
lose, or draw?
Oh my God.
Points
Where
on the
did I
board
pull
for
that?
Team Karen.
Yes!
Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you. Good job. All right.
Oh God.
You have control
What
of the board.
If I do the next one and I get it wrong, I'll be negative 100, right?
Oh, we haven't been subtracting points. We've just been adding the win.
Thank you. Let's just try. I'm just going to try. 80 game show 500.
80s game shows 500. A messy game show for kids.
I remember this.
That's on that TV show. It's on the Nickelodeon. Is it on there? And messy game show for kids. Is that when people got slimed?
No, that's a different one. I know what you're talking about.
A messy game show for kids. Oh, want to give me a hint? Because you probably know it. She knows.
I know what you were talking about. You were talking about you can't do that on television where they get slimed.
Sure. I would never have guessed that as a name, but that was where I was thinking.
That was the Nickelodeon show where the slime was introduced. Nickelodeon still uses in their logo, but like there's another one that was like obstacle courses, and like you got all disgusting covered in jello, and like your parents would come with you, I think. And
okay, I was probably out in a nightclub, so I have no idea what it is.
I remember it. It was.
I don't know.
I think we were both a little too old for it.
No idea. Do you know what the name is?
Nope, not a clue. What is Double Dare?
Oh, would not have known that. Oh, do I get to go again?
There's got to be YouTubes of it.
No.
It is the silliest show.
Tara gets control of the board again.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is going to be embarrassing, and I'm going to lose all sorts of credit for this. I stink at this part. 80s music for 300.
80s music for 300. The year that Madonna's Material Girl was released.
What is 1985?
How do we feel about that, Karen? What is 1984?
I knew it was at least 1 year older. I was thinking maybe 83, but okay. Oh, I get to go now?
Yeah, you get to go. Would you like 400 or 500 in music?
Oh, just go for the 500. What the hell?
Right on. Music for 500.
Oh.
What 80s rap group collaborated with Aerosmith?
Run DMC. Who is Run DMC?
Who is Run DMC? Bam!
That was outstanding.
And the final
400.
question. Name the 5 members of Bon Jovi.
I can't name maybe 2. So I'm going to say I don't know the answer to that question.
John Bon Jovi. That's it.
Yes, he's one. Is this
who are John,
Richie,
Alec, Tico,
I knew
and David?
John and Richie. I didn't know the other.
Oh my God, that's a hard one.
Richie, Sam, somebody, right?
Forrest.
Forrest.
Yes.
Yeah, the music category I think was kind of tricky.
That was hard.
Yeah.
That's hard. But Tara spanked my butt again.
Okay, let's do 70s next time. I will lose so
All right, we're going to do 70s, or we're going to do even playing field with 90s.
There you go.
Because I'm probably going to just die
What
on
categories
that one
did we play last time?
80s.
80s
we did 80s again.
Yeah.
Whoopsies.
80s trivia is fun, but like I think we should do 90s would be like a nice even playing field, unless there's something that we're both into, like I don't know if you're like a Harry Potter nerd or an Office nerd or something like that. Like we can do a theme one.
Maybe 70s. It might have to just go 70s and go really even playing field.
70s, you will win hands down, and we should totally do it.
I probably won't, because like I got up to like the most I remember about the 70s is wearing my green terry cloth shorts with satin, and I do roller skating birthday parties. Like, you know,
roller skating birthday parties were the absolute best. And then you would go to McDonald's and they had like ashtrays in the middle of the table, and you would sit on those like hamburger shaped chairs.
Do you remember so I remember Roy Rogers, when you would sit on the horse and put your tray in between its ears and eat your like roast beef sandwich. Or I can remember when McDonald's came out with Monopoly, and I was like in 10th or 11th grade, and I would just leave school and buy all this food and start playing the board. And then I'd win food. So I would go get more food to have more chip. And I would sit there for 3 hours just knowing I'm going to win a big Monopoly. Sick as a dog, but just eat and get more points, eat and get more. Yes, I remember that.
Did you watch a documentary about that?
About Monopoly?
There's a
McDonald's?
documentary about the McDonald's Monopoly thing, because it was totally rigged, and it was like a whole big thing. And like these people got in this big conspiracy about it.
Oh, I love that we're watching Karen find out about this live.
Well, yeah, I have like every Star Wars Monopoly, every Star Wars Happy Meal thing except for 2 that probably were never created, but those I'm missing 2, and I've never played with them. They're still in their packages, and I just went through this thing one year. I was like, I'm going to collect all the Star Wars Happy Meal prizes except for 2. Yeah. Anything else in the 70s? Just records and my, Casey Kasem top 40, and then having to hit record.
Oh my
God. You wait for your favorite song and you hit record and play at the same time.
Oh yes, and you made mixtapes, right? And you would call the radio station and ask them to play the song you wanted, right? And then you sit there with your finger on it.
Right.
You go, I'm gonna do it.
Or the first time you talked on a phone that did not have a cord attached to it, and you're like, I am talking to you, and there's no cord. I'm in my driveway.
I'm in the backyard.
I'm so cool. Or how about when you would make a new friend and you didn't get all your phones converted to push button yet, so you still had a rotary and their number had a crap ton of 9s and 0s, but you really had to talk to her, so you're like pushing the 9, you're like 0. You have to get it done fast
every time.
Or like you can't get off the phone, and then the operator's like, this is the operator and we need to interrupt the line your mother's trying to call. Have to hang up the phone. Yes, Mom. What did you need? I'm trying to call. Line's busy. You gotta hang up the phone.
I literally remember getting call waiting and my dad explaining to me what it was and what to listen for that was gonna make that little noise. And like that's what call waiting was. And it was such a thing, right? It had
so amazing.
Call waiting. It's like, oh my gosh, that's like the most amazing thing. Like we can get a call while we're on a call.
Yeah. Yeah. I can totally remember like when my car's odometer stopped working, so I would have to write down the number of the mileage I had and add to it after I filled it up with gas and keep my eye out. And then I always ran out of gas. And then you're just hunting for 15 cents so that you can put it in the pay phone.
Yes!
And then say, I need a gas can, please, because I ran out of gas again.
Yes, yeah. I remember gas was 99 cents a gallon when I learned.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm dating myself.
Did you ever play with little people?
Oh yeah, the little guy, and the weebles.
And weeble wobbles, but they don't fall down.
They don't fall down. Yeah, I totally did.
Or like take your board games and flip them over, and everybody would go to their own porch and be like, "All right, make your own board game, and we'll all come back and play each other's board games."
No, that's cool.
Or like your mom would be like, "Go out and come home when you need nourishment. Go to somebody else's house to pee." Don't come back till that sun's coming down or you hear the whistle. And then I would like grab water from the hose after I drank it, and then I would bang rocks and make rock soup.
Mm-hmm. We did that. We did all that stuff.
The wilderness.
Yeah, we got kicked out. Our mom would be like,
goodbye.
Get out of the house. Nobody
after Saturday morning cartoons with Sid and Marty Krofft.
Oh my God.
Land of the Lost.
Yes, with the Skeezaks.
Right? Sleazax.
The Sleazax.
Mm-hmm. Or who was the other one? Who was the Sigmund, the sea monster? HR Puffin stuff.
Oh my God! Yes.
Yeah, we're talking good stuff. Wonder Twin Powers activate.
Activate. Right.
Form of an iceberg.
Of water.
Okay, one last one.
Okay.
Electro Woman and Dino Girl.
Oh my God. We are so old.
We're so connected.
We are the last feral generation, right? Like we were feral. We were just like if you felt, but it was possible because if you fell down, somebody's mom came out and put a Band-Aid on you and you just went and played.
After they sprayed Bactine on it.
No,
so good.
Well, you're lucky if it was Bactine. If you fell in front of my house, my dad would put mercurochrome on you.
Mercurochrome. Yes, and you'd be like, because it would sting so bad. Yeah, and go back. Go. You're not dead. You didn't lose a limb. Get back out.
Mercurochrome, I still maintain, was designed to get kids to toughen up so that you wouldn't complain when you got hurt.
Yes.
Because if you complain when you get hurt, they're going to put that on you.
Yes.
You just learn to
So
like
you just
rub dirt on it.
you get road rash, you just like wipe it off and just let it ooze out. It'll
That's
ooze the
way better.
bacteria out.
Way better than Mercurochrome.
Kids, I can remember chasing after lightning bugs. It sounds like we come from the olden age, but just hoping that I could read the book from all the light. I mean, you know, I remember when my son was very young and we moved to the house I'm in now, and he was like 10, and I'm like, go outside and play. He's like, what? I said, go play. He's like, I said, there's a creek. Here's a strainer. Go find things in the water. He's like, I don't understand what you're saying.
My kids look at me like that.
Here's some chalk. Can you go play? He's like, what does that mean? I'm like, oh, so bad. Go outside and play and don't come back in. I don't care. Just sit there and braid blades of grass until you make a bracelet, make a rope, a lasso.
Go outside and figure it out.
Right.
We used to go to the stream. There was a like a green belt area when I was a kid, and we would take buckets and go to the stream and get buckets of water because there were tadpoles in there. And we would trek home like a half a mile with a bucket of tadpoles and show up at home like super proud of ourselves, like we're gonna grow frogs. And my mom's like, no, you're not in my yard, you're not. Get that out of here. And you know, but then also, no, you may not dump it down the sewer. Take it back to the park where it belongs and return it. And we did. And and then don't you dare come back in my house until before
you were in the wilderness.
Wait till when the street lights come on, you can come in the house. It was not. And when do you need to be home? It's when you're even allowed to come back home.
When you're allowed. And all of you would play, and somehow you all were on the same imagination wavelength. It all just worked itself out. Even if you were playing Star Wars, like everybody knew who was Princess Leia, who was C-3PO. Like there was no question. You just got together and you were in your roles, and you did this for 12 hours and nobody had a thought. Or you played Grease.
Yeah.
But I was a horrible sister. We should save this all for another conversation. Like when we played Grease and I was Sandy and I made her be the ice cream that did this with its head at the drive-in movie. So she wasn't allowed to ride a motorcycle, which, you know, was the arm of the chair. Because when she did, she literally fell off and cracked her head and needed 3 stitches. But or when we played Star Wars and she was Chewbacca and I was, you know, Princess Leia, of course. Yeah, kids don't know. They just don't know.
The older sister. You're the older sister.
I'm the older.
Yeah. So I'm the younger sister.
Oh God.
So I can tell that you're the older sister because you got the
older
cool roles, right? I did not get the cool roles.
Yeah.
We did do that. We played Grease, and my parents had this giant stereo that was like furniture, right? It was like this big wood piece of furniture, right? And it had a turntable and an 8-track player and a thing that converted 8 tracks to cassettes. And we had all these records of like Annie and Grease and like musicals. We put on our tap shoes and there was like a tile entryway. And so we would put on Grease and our tap shoes and we would just tap dance to Grease. My poor mother, I don't know how she did not have chronic migraines. Like that was the noisiest, most obnoxious thing, but she didn't want us wrecking our tap shoes on the driveway. So
funny. Mine was a chorus line. And my friend and I would make her older brother sit down and watch us, and we would get these like foam plastic hats, and we would do the entire thing a chorus line and do performances for him. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that.
Oh God, memory lane of childhood, so good. These kids do not know what good is, but
I am telling you, there are a bunch of TikTokers and stuff who are just Gen Xers talking about being a Gen Xer and being a Gen Xer now, like being a Gen Xer. How, you know, all of these news articles, they seem to like gloss over Gen X and they just ignore us. And we're really on board with that. Like, go for it. Just ignore us. It's fine. We're used to it and we like it anyway.
That's right.
And how different I feel like kids today, like Gen Z is so different from Gen X in a way that Gen X was not from boomers and the great generation. Like, these guys, we're different than our parents and our grandparents, but we grew up enough analog that we are still more like them than our kids are like us.
I mean, granted,
kids,
we had breakout, beep, beep, and we were like, this is mesmerizing. I want to play breakout, you know? And then you got Pitfall, and you were like, all right, it doesn't get any better than Pitfall. This is like Indiana Jones in Atari.
It was
So
amazing.
different now. Yeah.
No, my dad brought home Pong one day, and it was a whole console that like his business was doing business with the people who were making this.
Right.
He literally came home and gave this to me, and we hooked it up to my little 13-inch black and white TV that had 13 channels on it. And in my bedroom, I had Pong, and I thought I was just the coolest thing on two legs.
Yeah.
I was just so pleased with myself. This entire box, that was the size of an Atari, all it did was play Pong, and we thought that was so
greatest.
It was on my
the
TV
greatest thing
in my bedroom.
Yeah. But did you have barrettes that had ribbons with beads?
Yes.
Of course. And where did that come from? Where did that trend get started?
I think that was Punky Brewster.
No. It's in a musical, a movie. She wore roller skates.
I don't know.
She had been in a movie with Danny Zuko before that.
Oh, okay. So this is like an Olivia Newton-John thing?
Yeah.
So this has to be okay.
Xanadu.
That's very 70s.
It was actually, but it came out in the 80s. It was early 80s, and she had her barrettes, and I wanted them with my jams. And my father's like, I can make you those barrettes because I'm an engineer, and you can have yams, and you'll be fine. They look just like jams.
Yep. Yep. That was my mom too. My mom would be like, I'm buying you Guess jeans, but I'll buy you Palmetto jeans that have a triangle label on the butt. That
You're not getting Sassoon. You're getting No. So that's it. No.
No.
Yeah. No. We
No.
didn't get
And I
those
told,
either.
and no, our parents were like, no, that's not that's not happening. No.
Mm-mm.
And then
DoorDash?
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. No. Not happening. Sorry. You have your gunny sack dress for prom though, but that's about it. That's what I got. My gunny sack, I think for my bat mitzvah, I got my gunny sack dress.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, Tara, it's always so fun having you here. You are on 70s trivia next time for sure. Thank you again. And thanks for allowing us to be able to give away another gift certificate to everyone and sharing everything with us, which is so awesome as always. And thank you to everybody who participated. And congratulations to Jeff on Jeff Brenny on his $50 gift certificate win. And don't forget to click like, click subscribe, click share, check out the TikTok video on their Instagram website pages. And you'll see some of us here at Aortic Hope showing off our bing bing like Wonder Woman, our bracelets.
You really were. Now we have to do a Wonder Woman theme shoot. That's what we're gonna have to do next.
Halloween. It's right around the corner. It's totally happening. All right, everybody. Thank you again so much, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Thanks, guys.